I'm standing at my brother's wedding right now, champagne glass in hand, about to give the best man speech. What nobody in this room knows is that in exactly 3 minutes, I'm going to expose the bride for cheating on him. Not because I'm cruel, but because I've spent the last 6 months gathering evidence, and I'm done being the only one who knows the truth. Let me back up. 6 months earlier, my brother Jake and I have always been close. Only 2 years apart, we grew up sharing everything: rooms, clothes, secrets, dreams. When he met Caroline 3 years ago at a corporate retreat in Denver, he called me that same night. Bro, I just met my future wife. I laughed. Jake had said that about exactly 0 women before. He was 34, successful in commercial real estate, and notoriously picky about relationships. So when he said it, I believed him. I met Caroline 2 weeks later at a family barbecue. She was everything Jake described. Gorgeous, obviously, but also sharp, funny, ambitious. She worked in pharmaceutical sales, drove a Tesla, and had this way of making everyone in the room feel like they were the most interesting person she'd ever met. Within 6 months, they were living together. Within a year, engaged. Our parents loved her. His friends loved her. I loved her. In that appropriate, this is my future sister-in-law, and I'm genuinely happy for my brother kind of way. Everything was perfect. Until March 17th, when I saw her car parked outside the Marriott downtown at 11:37 p.m. on a Wednesday. The first crack, I was driving home from a late client dinner. My firm had just landed a major account, and my boss took the team out to celebrate. I was tired, buzzed from exactly 2 beers, and ready to crash. Then I saw it. Caroline's Tesla. That specific shade of blue with the vanity plate, closer one, because she was always talking about closing deals. Parked in the Marriott lot. Weird, but not incriminating. Maybe she had a work event. Maybe she was meeting a client. Maybe there was a perfectly reasonable explanation. Except Jake was home. I knew because we texted an hour earlier. He'd sent me a photo of him on the couch with their dog watching the Celtics game. Caroline working late again? Yeah, big presentation tomorrow. Probably won't be home till midnight. I sat in my car in that parking lot for 20 minutes arguing with myself. This was none of my business. I should trust Caroline. Jake loved her. They were getting married in 6 months. But something in my gut wouldn't let me leave. At 11:58 p.m., Caroline walked out of the hotel. But she wasn't alone. There was a man with her. Tall, fit, dressed in what was clearly an expensive suit even from a distance. They stopped near her car. He said something. She laughed. That full, genuine laugh I'd seen her give Jake 1,000 times. Then he kissed her. Not a friendly kiss, not a European air kiss thing. A full, both hands on her face, bodies pressed together. This is not the first time kiss. She kissed him back. I took out my phone and started recording. The impossible decision: I didn't sleep that night. Literally didn't close my eyes once. I just lay in bed, phone on my chest, that 43-second video burning a hole through my entire existence. Do I tell Jake? Do I confront Caroline first? Do I gather more evidence? Do I mind my own business? That last option felt impossible. This was my brother, my best friend, the guy who held me when my high school girlfriend cheated on me, the guy who drove 4 hours in a snowstorm when I had a breakdown during my CPA exam, the guy who deserved to know his fiancée was cheating on him 6 months before their wedding. But I also knew what this would do to him. Jake had been cheated on before. His college girlfriend slept with his roommate. It destroyed him for 2 years. He told me once, after too many whiskeys, that marrying Caroline felt like proof that good things could happen to him, that he could trust again. And I was about to shatter that. I called in sick to work Friday, spent the entire day researching what to do, read forums, articles, Reddit threads about how to tell someone they're being cheated on. The advice was all over the place. By Friday night, I'd made a decision. I needed more evidence. One kiss could be explained away, a moment of weakness, too much to drink, a mistake. Caroline could cry, apologize, and Jake might forgive her. They might even work through it. I needed to know if this was a pattern or a one-time thing, so I became someone I'm not proud of. I became a stalker. The investigation. For the next 3 weeks, I tracked Caroline's schedule, not physically following her. I'm not a psychopath, but paying attention, noting when she said she was working late, when she had client dinners, when she was too tired for Jake's company events. I checked her LinkedIn, found the guy from the hotel. His name was Marcus Holloway, VP of Operations at Greystone Pharmaceuticals. Same industry as Caroline, same networking circles. I created a fake LinkedIn profile, David Morrison, regional sales consultant, and sent Marcus a connection request. He accepted. His profile was public. I scrolled through 2 years of posts. There, buried in a conference photo from 14 months ago, was Caroline, standing next to Marcus, both smiling. The caption, "Great insights at the Northeast Pharma Leadership Summit, 14 months ago, 3 months after Jake and Caroline got engaged." My stomach turned. I went deeper, found their company directories. Turned out they both attended 6 conferences together over the past year and a half. Atlanta, Miami, Chicago, Boston, Seattle, San Diego. Jake had been to exactly 0 of those cities with Caroline during that time. I checked Jake's calendar. We share a family Google Calendar for events. Every single conference Caroline attended, Jake had been either working or with family. She'd gone alone, or so he thought. Confronting the truth. By mid-April, I had enough evidence to bury Caroline. Photos of her car at the Marriott 4 more times. Screenshots of Marcus's Instagram stories from conferences where Caroline was tagged in the background. Credit card receipts I found accidentally when Caroline left her purse at our parents' house. Expensive dinners in cities where she wasn't hungry when she called Jake. The final piece came from Jake himself. "Dude, I'm worried about Caroline." We were having beers at his place. Caroline was supposedly at a work dinner. Why? She's been really distant lately. Like, physically distant. We haven't, in almost 3 weeks. Every time I try to initiate, she's too tired or stressed about work. My hands clenched around my beer bottle. She's also been on her phone constantly. Like, won't even put it down during dinner. Gets jumpy when I walk into a room. I asked her about it, and she got defensive. Said I was being paranoid and controlling. Classic gaslighting. "Jake, man, I need to tell you something." I almost did it right there. Almost showed him everything. But he looked so hopeful, so desperate for me to tell him he was overthinking things. "What?" I chickened out. "Just trust your gut. You're not paranoid. If something feels off, it probably is." He nodded slowly. "Yeah, maybe I should talk to her this weekend." Really talk. He did talk to her. She cried. Apologized for being distant. Blamed work stress and wedding planning pressure. Promised to be more present. They made love that night. Jake texted me the next morning. "Crisis averted. We're good. She just needed to know I was there for her." I wanted to throw my phone through a wall. The plan May arrived. The wedding was now 4 months away. Invitations had been sent. The venue was booked. Deposits were paid. Caroline and Jake had started premarital counseling. Ironic, considering one of them was actively maintaining a year-long affair. I made a decision that would probably make me an asshole in most people's eyes. I wasn't going to tell Jake privately. I was going to expose Caroline publicly at the wedding during my best man speech. Before you judge me, hear me out. If I told Jake privately, he'd confront Caroline. She'd cry, manipulate, lie. Maybe he'd believe her. Maybe they'd go to couples therapy. Maybe she'd promise to end it with Marcus. Maybe they'd still get married, and I'd watch my brother live in a relationship built on lies. Or maybe Jake would believe me, cancel the wedding, and spend the rest of his life wondering if he made the right choice. Caroline would paint me as the villain who destroyed their relationship out of jealousy or spite. Our family would be divided. Jake would be heartbroken, but he'd always wonder if they could have worked it out. But if I exposed her publicly at the wedding with undeniable evidence, there would be no reconciliation. No manipulation, no gaslighting, just truth. Everyone who loved Jake would see exactly who Caroline was. There would be no whisper campaign about whether I was lying or exaggerating. No way for Caroline to spin the narrative. Jake would be devastated, but he'd also be free. And honestly, a part of me wanted Caroline to feel the same humiliation she'd been inflicting on Jake for over a year. Every time she kissed Marcus while wearing Jake's engagement ring. Every time she lied about where she was. Every time she gaslit Jake into thinking he was paranoid. She deserved to be exposed. The final months between May and September, I became meticulous. I hired a private investigator, cost me $8,000, but worth every penny. He confirmed everything I suspected and found more. Caroline and Marcus had hotel rooms booked in each other's names. They had a standing reservation at a bed and breakfast in Vermont they visited once a month. They had pet names for each other in text messages the PI somehow obtained through legal but questionable methods. Most damning, Marcus had recently filed for divorce from his wife of 9 years. The reason cited in the paperwork, irreconcilable differences. But the PI dug deeper. Marcus's soon-to-be ex-wife suspected he was cheating, but couldn't prove it. Now I could prove it for her. I compiled everything into a single presentation. Photos, screenshots, receipts, timeline. A clear, undeniable narrative of a year-long affair that was still ongoing. The PI even got video from 3 weeks before the wedding. Caroline and Marcus checking into a Hilton in Providence. The footage was time-stamped 3:47 p.m. on a Tuesday. Caroline had told Jake she was visiting her sister in Connecticut that night. Her sister lives in California. During this time, I had to act normal. I went to the bachelor party. I helped Jake pick out his tuxedo. I attended wedding planning meetings and smiled at Caroline across the table while knowing exactly what she was. Jake asked me multiple times if I was okay. "You seem off lately, bro. Everything good?" "Yeah, just work stress. Busy season." "You sure? You've been weird around Caroline. Did something happen?" "No, man. I'm good. Just got a lot on my mind." He believed me. Because Jake trusts people, especially people he loves. That's what made this so much harder. The wedding day, September 23rd. Perfect fall day in Massachusetts. Venue overlooking the harbor. 300 guests. Open bar. Live band. Everything Jake and Caroline had dreamed of. I stood next to Jake as his best man while Caroline walked down the aisle in a $15,000 dress. She looked beautiful. Jake cried. I felt nothing but cold determination. The ceremony was short. They exchanged vows Caroline had written herself, promises of loyalty, honesty, partnership. I watched Marcus in the audience, sitting 4 rows back with his girlfriend who wasn't his wife anymore. He was wearing the same suit from the hotel parking lot 6 months ago. The reception started at 6 p.m. Cocktail hour, dinner, first dance. Everything proceeded perfectly. Jake was the happiest I'd ever seen him. Caroline played her role flawlessly, the blushing bride, the perfect wife, the woman who just married her soulmate. At 8:45 p.m., the MC announced it was time for speeches. Maid of honor went first. Caroline's younger sister, talking about growing up together and how Jake was perfect for her. 5 minutes of sentimental stories and inside jokes. Then it was my turn. I stood up, microphone in hand, and looked out at 300 faces. Friends, family, colleagues, people who loved Jake and Caroline. People who had no idea what was about to happen. Jake smiled at me, expectant. Caroline smiled too, probably relieved the evening was almost over without incident. I cleared my throat. Good evening, everyone. For those who don't know me, I'm Ryan, Jake's brother and best man. I've been working on this speech for months, trying to find the right words to capture what Jake and Caroline's relationship means. And after a lot of thought, I realized the most important thing I can do tonight is tell the truth. A few chuckles from the audience. Jake nodded encouragingly. Jake and I have been close our entire lives. He's not just my brother, he's my best friend. And because I love him, I can't stand by and watch him start his marriage based on lies. The room got quiet. Jake's smile faltered. Caroline's face went pale. 6 months ago, I saw Caroline's car parked outside the Marriott downtown at midnight. I thought it was strange, but I didn't think much of it, until I saw her walk out with another man. A man who kissed her, a man she kissed back. Gasps throughout the room. Jake stood up. Ryan, what the hell? His name is Marcus Holloway. He's sitting right over there, actually. I pointed. Every head turned. Marcus looked like he wanted to disappear. Jake, I know this is the worst possible way to find out, but Caroline has been having an affair with Marcus for at least 14 months. I have photos, videos, hotel receipts, text messages. I hired a private investigator to be absolutely sure before I said anything. Caroline was crying now. This is insane. Ryan, why are you doing this? I'm doing this because Jake deserves to know the truth before he spends the rest of his life with someone who's been lying to him since before they even got engaged. Jake looked between me and Caroline, his face cycling through confusion, anger, betrayal. I have a presentation, I continued. Everything is documented. Timestamps, locations, evidence. It's all real. And I'm sorry, Jake. I'm so sorry I'm telling you this way. But if I told you privately, Caroline would have found a way to manipulate you into staying. This way, everyone knows the truth. I pulled out a USB drive and handed it to the venue coordinator, who I'd briefed earlier. Could you please display this on the screens? Ryan, don't. Caroline stood up, but it was too late. The screens around the room lit up with the presentation title, The Truth About Caroline. What followed was 15 minutes of undeniable evidence. Every photo, every receipt, every text message, the timeline of their affair, hotel check-ins, conference photos, the video from the Marriott parking lot. People started leaving. Caroline's parents rushed to her side. Marcus tried to sneak out but was blocked by several of Jake's groomsmen. Jake just stood there, frozen, watching his entire relationship disintegrate on massive screens in front of everyone he knew. When the presentation ended, the room was chaos. People shouting, Caroline sobbing, Jake's mom holding him while he stared at nothing. I set down the microphone and walked over to my brother. I'm sorry, I said. I know you hate me right now, but you deserve to know. Jake didn't look at me. He just walked out of the reception hall. I didn't follow him. The aftermath. Week 1. The wedding was obviously over. Guests left in awkward clusters. The venue staff cleaned up in silence. Caroline's family threatened to sue me for defamation. Good luck with that when everything I showed was true. Marcus's girlfriend broke up with him on the spot. Apparently, he told her he was attending as a colleague, not mentioning his affair with the bride. I drove home alone at 11 p.m., still in my tuxedo, and waited for the fallout. It came fast. My parents called at 7 a.m. the next morning. What the hell were you thinking? Jake needed to know. You humiliated him in front of everyone he knows. Caroline humiliated him by cheating for over a year. I just made sure everyone knew the truth. This was cruel, Ryan. You could have handled this privately. And then what? She'd manipulate him into staying, and we'd all watch him waste his life with a cheater? My mom was crying. My dad was furious. They hung up after telling me Jake didn't want to see or speak to me. I expected that. What I didn't expect was the public reaction. The wedding had been fancy enough that local society pages had been covering it. Photos from the ceremony, before my speech, had already been posted online. Then guests started talking. Then someone leaked parts of my presentation to social media. By Monday morning, Wedding Toast Exposed was trending locally. People were divided. Some said I was a hero for protecting my brother. Others said I was a monster who destroyed Jake's wedding day for attention. Caroline issued a statement through her lawyer claiming I fabricated everything out of jealousy because I'd always been in love with her. That was news to me. Marcus disappeared from social media entirely. And Jake? Radio silence. Week 2, I tried calling Jake every day. Never answered. I texted. Left voicemails. Nothing. His friends blocked me. My parents said he was processing and needed space. Caroline moved out of their apartment. Back with her parents, supposedly. She'd hired a lawyer to explore her options. Defamation, intentional infliction of emotional distress, whatever would stick. The PI I hired sent me a message. FYI, Marcus Holloway was just fired from Greystone Pharmaceuticals. Ethics violation. Thought you'd want to know. That made me feel something close to satisfaction. On Friday of week 2, Jake's best friend from college, Tyler, showed up at my apartment. Jake asked me to come talk to you. Is he okay? No. He's a fucking mess, Ryan. He hasn't left his apartment since the wedding. He's not eating, barely sleeping. I've never seen him like this. I know, I'm sorry. Are you? Because it seems like you enjoyed destroying his wedding. I didn't enjoy it. I did what needed to be done. You traumatized him in front of 300 people. Caroline traumatized him by cheating for over a year. I just made sure he found out. Tyler shook his head. He wants to see the full evidence, everything you have. He needs to process it privately. I gave him the complete file, everything the PI had gathered, everything I'd compiled, the whole truth. Tell him I love him, and I'm sorry. Week 3. The evidence I sent Jake must have been convincing because by week 3, things shifted. Caroline's lawyer stopped threatening lawsuits. Apparently, Jake shared the complete file with them, and they realized they had no case. Jake's parents called to apologize. We didn't understand how extensive the affair was. We thought you'd overreacted to one incident. But after seeing everything, you were right. We're sorry. Is Jake okay? No, but he will be, eventually. My mom added, he said to tell you he's not ready to talk yet, but he doesn't hate you. That was something. Work became complicated. Word had spread about what I did, and opinions were split. Some colleagues thought I was loyal and brave, others thought I was cruel and vindictive. My boss called me into his office. Ryan, I need to ask, did you really expose your brother's fiancée at their wedding? Yes. Why? Because he deserved to know the truth before legally binding himself to someone who'd been cheating on him for over a year. He nodded slowly. Fair enough, just maybe handle family drama more privately in the future. It's become a distraction around the office. Understood. Meanwhile, Caroline had become a pariah. Her company placed her on administrative leave while they investigated her relationship with Marcus, given their industry overlap and potential conflicts of interest. Marcus had already been fired. Week 4, Jake finally called me. Hey, you okay? No, but I will be. Silence. I'm still pissed at you, Ryan. The way you did it, that was brutal. I'll never forget standing there in front of everyone while you exposed my entire relationship as a lie. I know, but I've spent the last month going through everything. The evidence, the timeline, the lies, and I realized something. What? You saved me. If you told me privately, I would have believed her excuses. She's that good at lying. I would have married her and spent years in a relationship built on cheating and manipulation. I'm sorry, Jake. I know. I'm seeing a therapist. Started this week. We talked for an hour. Before hanging up, he said, if you ever do this again, maybe just send a text instead of a PowerPoint. 3 months later, it's December now. Jake is healing. Caroline moved away. Marcus rebuilt elsewhere. Jake and I are close again. Maybe closer than before. Do you regret how you did it? He asked. I regret that it hurt you, I said. But I don't regret telling the truth. He raised his beer to brothers who give the worst wedding speeches in history. I clinked mine against his. Jake will be okay. I'll be okay. We're all going to be okay. And somewhere out there, there's a woman who will actually deserve my brother. Someone honest, someone faithful, someone who won't make me choose between his happiness and the truth. Until then, I'm just the guy who gave the wedding toast everyone's still talking about. Worth it. Update. Jake just texted me. Starting to date again. Think I'm ready. Thanks for having my back, even when I hated you for it. Yeah, definitely worth it.